new babe.
So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now listen, bro, I don't think there's ever been one movie or TV show that I've watched that had me in the mirror right after the movie was over, like, all right, stab like this, like let me get that movie just got me hype. I'm ready to kill somebody, bro. I'm just ready to do somebody, anybody, and any first person knock at the door, or let's just randomly go pick somebody out. Like, huh? So you can understand why when I look at this title and see it reads 5 real life murderers caused by television shows, where I'm like, what did that movie do to you? What scene, timestamp in a scene that made you feel like, oh bro, somebody gotta die. Somebody gotta go today. No movie. And I'm like a horror, scary movie person. Suspense, action, all kind of different stuff. I'm into that type of stuff. So yeah, there's never been a movie that made me just feel like, yeah, that was it. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that one made me want to do it, bro. I've never been influenced like that by a movie, man. Just me. Can't speak for everybody else. Because clearly, there's some people out here that it did. And let's check them out. Run the lights up, y'all. Run the lights up.
5 real-life murders caused by television shows. Television shows are a part of pop culture. Some are controversial, others trashy, others worthy.
Y'all are not finna say Jerry Springer. I'm seeing Jerry Springer on the middle TV right there. Y'all are not finna say that.
But some shows can trigger different effects in people. And the 5 cases on this list are instances where it brought out the very worst sides of the people on the small screen. These are 5 real-life murders caused by television shows. Number 5, The Jerry Springer Show, Ralph Panitz. On July 24, 2000, The Jerry Springer Show broadcasted another one of its sometimes controversial episodes. It had been recorded 3 months prior and was titled Secret Mistresses Confronted. On the show were Sarasota, Florida residents Ralph and Eleanor Panitz. The couple invited Nancy Campbell Panitz, Ralph's ex-wife, and accused her of stalking them and making their lives as difficult as possible. Nancy agreed to be a guest, thinking Ralph was going to make up with her, but as Nancy was brought on stage, she was greeted with boos and chants.
See, and that goes to show you, that tells you right there how manipulating these shows are, bro. Whenever you receive a letter telling you, hey, man, we would love to have you on our show, don't do it. I don't care what it is, bro. It's probably not going to be good. Most of these shows are based upon controversy and stuff like this, man. So, like, you getting an invitation to go on a Jerry Springer show, you should automatically in your mind know it's some BS, and you should decline, bro. If there was anywhere, like, you should put on like an ankle monitor that won't allow you to leave the house. That type of decline. You know what I mean? Like, no. Not Jerry. That lets you know they manipulate people. They tell people different reasons they're coming there. And when they get there, they're blindsided, bro. She was blindsided. You embarrassed her. Humiliated her.
The usual exchange of questions, shouting, and pointing fingers then began. As the show rolled on, the revelations started. It turns out, even after divorcing and Ralph starting a relationship with Eleanor, he continued to sleep with both women without either of them knowing. Even more strange was on the eve of the show's taping, all 3 stayed in a Chicago hotel and Ralph slept with Nancy. In the end, Nancy walked off the show to the taunts and jeers of the live audience. She was angry, and just hours after the show aired, a judge issued her a restraining order against Ralph. He wasn't allowed near her or her home. A few weeks later, and upset from being barred, Ralph, Eleanor, and Ralph's nephew, Marcus, drank in a bar as they watched the broadcast of the show they were on. All 3 then drove to Nancy's home to collect the couple's remaining items. It's believed that while there, they all started arguing again. At some point, Ralph panicked and fled through the back door. Eleanor and Marcus left in their own cars, and Eleanor said that when she came back, she found her husband in a daze. She picked him up and they left the property. Marcus then knocked on the door, but found it barricaded, and he called police, fearing the worst. Once police got inside, they found Nancy dead. She had been beaten and then strangled to death. Police believe she was even killed while the show was still airing. Ralph and Eleanor fled the state but were later arrested. According to Ralph, he was so drunk on the day Nancy was killed, he couldn't remember anything that happened. As repercussion, a lawsuit was filed against the Jerry Springer Show stating that they encouraged Ralph to lie in order to force Nancy to appear on the program. However, representatives from the show argue other incidents had happened contributing to the tragedy, and the show, or its host...
I mean, Jerry had good lawyers. That's basically what that means. In layman's terms, and by the way, this video is totally different than what I thought it was going to be, by the way. I'm thinking it says 5 real-life murders caused by television shows, meaning somebody watched the television show, saw something, and thought they was going to, go murder somebody after that. No, these people are on television shows, blindsided, humiliated, and then gets in an art. I used to be skeptic of these shows, man, but it was so compelling entertainment that you were like, I remember people just like running home trying to watch Jerry Springer when it came out. We talked about this before. It was just, it was a wave that swept this world by storm with it when it came out. It was crazy.
Shouldn't be held responsible. Ralph Penance is currently serving life in prison for the crime. Eleanor still maintains she's innocent of doing anything. Number 4. The Voice, Kevin Loibl. YouTube sensation and The Voice contestant Christina Grimmie had just finished an amazing performance at the Plaza Live, a popular venue in Orlando, Florida, on June 11, 2016. The beautiful 22-year-old excitedly joined her brother Mark at their merchandise booth for her favorite part, meeting the fans. Right at the end of the line was a young man in a flannel shirt and a baseball cap. When he approached the singer, she could tell he was shy. She stood up, greeted him by opening her arms to give him a hug, her way of breaking the ice whenever she sensed that a fan was shy. But instead of giving her a nice hug back, the man pulled out a gun and shot her once, then he fired 3 more times at point-blank range. Seeing his sister fall to the ground, Mark rushed at the man and tackled him. The two scuffled as those in the area ran for the exits. The man was able to pull himself away from Mark's grip. He then backed up against a wall, pulled out a second gun, aimed it on the side of his head, and pulled the trigger. Christina was still breathing and was rushed to the hospital, but hours later she succumbed to her wounds. As people sought answers, they turned to the identity of the gunman. Police discovered he was 27-year-old Kevin Loibl. A natural introvert, Kevin's home life wasn't ideal. He grew...
Though, this puts me in the mind, what was it, John Lennon? Where the fan walked up on him and shot him? Is that what I'm trying to recall in my brain? So much stuff in there, bro. I can't pick out or quite, but I want to say that. If I'm wrong, y'all tell me I'm wrong and tell me who I'm possibly thinking about. But that's what that puts me in the mind of, man. A fan, bro, coming up to you and you're trying to embrace them, trying to do that, and they just up a gun and just shoot you. That's scary.
Grew up in a semi-abusive home. When his mother died from a drug overdose, he moved in with his dad and girlfriend and worked at Best Buy, where he was assigned to the Geek Squad because he was so bad with interacting with people. Then in 2015, Kevin saw Christina sing on YouTube, and that's when his obsession began. In his plan to make her fall in love with him, he decided to change himself. So Kevin lost 50 pounds, got LASIK surgery, whitened his teeth, and even got implants to cover his receding hairline. Even more, he seems to have also taken an interest in Christina's Christian beliefs. But Kevin's close friend, Corey Dennington, noticed the admiration was turning into an unhealthy obsession. Dennington told their boss about it, but since Kevin wasn't showing anything unusual at work, there was nothing they could do. Weeks before the show, Kevin bought tickets and purchased 2 guns. When he got home, he packed a drawstring pack with his guns, a 5-inch hunting knife, and 3 boxes of bullets. He took his hard drive from his computer and hid it. Then he traveled to Orlando, checked into a hotel, and the following day prepared to head to the concert. For a long time after the singer was shot, people wondered why Kevin did it. When police investigated the gunman's computer and cell phone records, they concluded Christina was likely killed for her outspoken Christian beliefs. Although it was hard to pinpoint if this was the reason, police could tell Kevin had intense hatred for Christians, singling out one particular female Christian singer, according to one of his many rantings.
See, man? And this is why people hesitate about discussing things about religion, politics. Two of the main ones people are hesitating speaking about, because people take that stuff so personally. When you don't have, your views don't align with them. When your views don't align with somebody, they take it personally, and now you're an enemy for some strange reason, like everybody's supposed to think the same. I don't get it. Her beliefs ultimately got her killed? Why? Why did they infringe on you so much that you developed a hatred to kill her? Somebody who you was obsessed with. Get out of here, man. Bump that. Bump that. Why should I have to fear my beliefs because they don't align with yours? No, there's no reason that should have to happen, bro. Sick, man. This stuff is crazy. Crazy. I don't know, man. Look at her. She was being successful, doing her thing, minding her business. And then she steps out there to show appreciation to the people who support her, and end up losing her life because of it. And then you wonder why some of these celebrities act the way they do when you try to roll up and take a picture with them. Blame people like this. Don't fault them all the time. Now, some of them, they just, you know what I mean? Some of them are just ridiculous, bro. They just have this huge, you know what I mean, ego that they feel as though that way. But for others, it's the mere fear factor. It's the fear factor of the unknown of a person's intentions, bro, because they're allowed to get so close to them. That's what it is. So be mindful of how you respond to people's reactions when you ask for something as simple as a picture with them. They don't know you, bro. Don't take it personal. It's because of this.
3. My sister Sam, Robert Bardo. It was July 18th, 1989. Actress Rebecca Schaeffer was in her West Hollywood home waiting urgently for a mail courier who was supposed to deliver a very important script to the actress. She had a big audition coming up. It was a chance to play Mary Corleone in Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather Part 3. When the doorbell rang, the young actress excitedly headed for the door, but to her surprise, it wasn't the delivery man with the script. Instead, it was a man who showed her a letter and an autograph she had once sent him. There was a short conversation, and she told him not to come back to her home again. So, without incident, the man left, headed to a nearby diner, and then ate breakfast. But an hour later, he returned to Rebecca's apartment. He rang the doorbell again. The actress opened the door and this time told him he was wasting her time. From out of nowhere, he pulled out a gun and fired 2 shots. Neighbors heard the gunfire and Rebecca's frantic screams. Neighbors found the actress slumped on the floor. Other people saw a man in a yellow shirt running on the Hollywood block before disappearing into an alley. The following day, motorists reported a man running on Interstate 10. Police came and arrested him, and he immediately confessed that he had killed Rebecca Schaeffer. Robert Bardo was his name. He was the youngest out of 7 children. Born in Tucson, Arizona, he suffered severe mental and physical abuse as a child, and his teachers described him as a time bomb on the verge of exploding. His first obsessive affection was given to Samantha Smith, the child that had become famous for sending a letter to Mikhail Gorbachev. And at 16, he became a fan of the TV sitcom My Sister Sam, starring none other than Rebecca Schaeffer. To show his obsession, he built a shrine of the actress in his bedroom. He also sent many letters to her, one of which the actress replied to, thanking him and signing it with love from Rebecca. But later on, Bardo saw the film Class Struggle, where Rebecca had a sex scene with a male actor. This upset Bardo, and he accused the actress of becoming one more of the bitches in Hollywood. That's when he decided he needed to punish her. He first tried to obtain a gun but was turned down when he indicated he had prior mental health issues. But the next day he returned and had his brother buy the gun for him instead. By July of '89, he had paid a private investigator $250 to get Schaefer's address for him. Rebecca was rushed to the hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. Barta was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As a result of this case, the anti-stalking laws were then put into effect. Number 2, To Catch a Predator, Luis Conrad Jr. Appealing to the masses' desire for crime and drama, To Catch a Predator was a recurring series on Dateline NBC.
Y'all know we familiar with To Catch a Predator. We done watched several of them.
The show, hosted by Chris Hansen, was bent on trapping and luring potential sexual predators, those who would engage in underage sex or attempt to entice a minor. It was November 2006 when Perverted Justice, an independent group used as consultants for the show, announced another sting operation was conducted with the help of law enforcement in Murphy, Texas. One of those under investigation was Assistant District Attorney Luis Conrad Jr. For 2 weeks, Perverted Justice workers posed online as a 13-year-old fictional kid named Luke. They alleged that on the other end of the chat line was Conrad posing as a 19-year-old college student named Will. The two exchanged sexually charged online chats with one another. At one point, Will even asked Luke for a nude picture of himself. When the sting operation was to take place, the show brought in an adult actor to play the character of Luke. Will and Luke exchanged phone calls, but when Luke asked if he would come over to a rented house where the police and cameras had been set up, Will refused and stopped responding. So that's when the group decided to bring the operation into Conrad's home. Police and SWAT team were all in place, with at least one cameraman hidden close to Conrad's residence. The warrant was sent out at around 2 p.m., but the crew and everyone else was already at the residence vicinity hours before, as several neighbors had reported suspicious-looking people. When the group noticed that the Sunday newspaper was missing, they figured Conrad must be inside the home. Based on this, police decided to do a tactical SWAT entry, as it seems Conrad was aware of their presence and might be destroying evidence while they waited. The police broke down the door and swept through the home. They came across Conrad in the hallway, and he shouted, "I'm not going to hurt anyone." Then he fired a single shot to his head, using a Browning .380 handgun, killing himself instantly. Criticism came shortly after, and many blamed Hansen and Perverted Justice for influencing the police's decisions. But the showrunners point out Conrad's guilt for soliciting a minor was his reason for committing suicide. They also encouraged everyone to read through the chat logs and verification call recordings to truly know what Conrad was like. In the end, Conrad's sister filed a $105 million lawsuit against NBC Universal. The two parties eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount.
Are you serious? She won that settlement? Well, I mean, they settled, but the lawsuit was for $105, but she settled. She got a settlement over him being who he was. I don't understand. I don't know. Somebody gonna have to make me understand that. How does that even happen? How does she even? Oh my gosh, bro. This is. And y'all wonder why so many people have so many issues with our legal system. Fact, case in point, right here. Right here. Gave y'all the evidence, gave y'all the text thread logs of what was going down.
Number 1, The Jenny Jones Show, Jonathan Schmitz. It was March 6, 1995 when Scott Emmender came in to tape an episode for The Jenny Jones Show. The show is known for its controversial topics, and for this episode, they titled it Same-Sex Secret Crushes, although none of the guests were told this prior to going on stage.
Again, bro, television show manipulation at its finest. They did this to people.
Scott walked in, was interviewed, and Jones, the show host, encouraged him to share his sexual fantasies about his crush. Then Jonathan Schmitz was brought on stage. Schmitz had no clue who his secret admirer was, but he was curious enough to attend the show. He later said the producers hinted it was a woman, and he thought it was someone he worked with that he also liked as well. Once Schmitz came out, the two men, who were friends, shared a quick, awkward embrace. Then the host dropped her bombshell, that Scott was actually Schmitz's admirer. In response, Schmitz gave out a nervous laugh, then said he was completely heterosexual. He also told Scott and Donna Riley, a common friend between the two, "You lied to me." 3 days after the show was taped, Schmitz found a sexually suggestive note at his house. Soon after that, he left his home and went to the bank. He withdrew money and bought a shotgun. After that, he headed to Scott's mobile home and asked him about the note. It seems the conversation ended in an argument. Schmitz then went outside, headed back to his car, and retrieved the shotgun before going back to the trailer. There, he shot Scott twice in the chest, killing him instantly. After, Schmitz then left, called 911, and confessed to the killing. He was arrested and found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20.
Now, do you blame that show of being involved in this? Absolutely, I do. Because you bring it on a grander scale, man. He might not have responded to this, but now that this was in front of all these viewers, all these people, this person is publicly humiliated, man. Some people cannot take that type of public humiliation. They never get over it. It causes them to go into a state of depression or turn deadly in this situation right here. Bro, you pretty much, who's to say if he never went on that show, this would have never happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, he'd probably still be fine friends, and maybe that dude one day said to him, "I like you." He said, "I'm not like that. I'm hetero. Leave me alone." And it just went its separate ways. But you throw it on a highly successful televised show, oh, you take it to another level, bro. Imagine how many people he knew probably watched that show that did that to him. Now, am I justifying him doing what he did? Absolutely not.
20 to 25 years in prison. During his appeal, his sentence was overturned, but the retrial found him guilty as well. Scott's family sued the Jenny Jones Show in 1999, stating that their ambush tactic and negligent role caused the death of Scott. Although the family initially won the case, it was later overturned by an appeals court. That
again, lawyers.
Episode never aired as a result of the tragedy, and the Jenny Jones Show was canceled shortly after as a direct result. So there were 5 real-life murders.
Wow. So for those who didn't know why the Jenny Jones Show was canceled back in the day, there you have it. That blindsiding people, man. A lot of them shows did that stuff, bro. That was their tactic for getting people on there. They didn't care. They didn't care about your feelings. The only thing was they cared about was ratings. Getting you there for ratings. Sad, man. People had to lose their life over the tactics of these shows, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all thought of this video, all right? Now stick around and stay tuned. Stay solid. Hey.